he's done.
Sure.
Thanks. Okay, I'm going to say we're going to adjourn the meeting at 7:50. Education and Government Committee meeting. Privilege of the chair. Does anyone wish to be heard on any matter before the committee? If not, we'll go to resolutions. First is the resolution authorizing the county executive to extend grant contract to Help America Vote Act. And a second. Any discussion? It's ready for full board?
Full board.
Thank you. Next is a resolution confirming members of Montgomery County Criminal Justice Coordinating Council to Youth Alternatives to Incarceration and Veteran Services. Those names are all listed.
Second.
You got a sponsor and second?
No, you can.
Okay.
Anybody can.
This is ready for full board.
Full board.
Thank you. Resolution in support of base increase for Montgomery Community College. This is, yes? We already have a sponsor and a second?
Second.
Is there discussion here? Ready for full board?
Full board.
Thank you.
Chairman,
Yes.
Dr. Swanger and Mr. Morrow, they've sat through the entire meeting. Did you care to add anything to the discussion on that resolution?
Frankly, I looked at them for attention. It's always a good idea to get out when you get what you want. But if you want,
I mean, they had to sit through this entire meeting and...
if you would like to offer some comments.
I would just offer this. It's the last ditch effort before the state budget comes, and I think as much support as we can get to try and get the state to meet its obligation to community colleges, the better. So your support is much appreciated.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, I should have called on you
That's
first.
okay. As long as it goes my way, it's okay.
I've been watching way too many Trump rallies lately.
One was coming.
So that means you have to stay.
I don't support him, but I watch him. That's why I had to apologize to Martin earlier. Okay, so we do have some time left here for, oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss the resolution opposition to the proposed founder connector?
That's actually last, but if you want to do it first before,
What's up?
it's after the rules of procedure, but if you want to do that one.
Yeah, I'm going to
first.
move this ahead so that we can talk a little bit about the rules of procedure. Is that okay?
I will sponsor.
Do you have a sponsor?
I'll second.
Second. Is this ready for full board?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, now we can get to the rules of procedure, and I just want to give this a little more time, and thank you. Thank you. What I passed out, what I did here was I tried to incorporate the changes that we agreed to at the last committee meeting. And there's kind of a synopsis of those changes. I had forwarded those changes to the clerk and attorney. I did ask for input from them, and that input is in the margins. So just briefly, I believe I have the document in the form that we agreed to at the last meeting. And now there are just some comments that I believe we should address. And so the first one is on page 1. Are we keeping the meeting at 7 o'clock, or would anyone like to meet at 6 instead?
Megan.
Just throwing it out there.
Might be an agreement to change it to 6 o'clock.
Do we have a consensus at 6 o'clock? Yes.
I don't have an issue with it. The only thing I'm wondering if it would deter people from the public attending.
Okay, that's a point. Anyone else? Okay, yes?
I agree with legislator Diamond. I think, if we keep going that trend, why don't we meet at 1 o'clock in the afternoon like
I'm good with that.
Yeah. I
We
think
could
it's,
have met yesterday, but we're just trying to pick a time.
I think it's interesting because, I think 7 works for us, 6 for committees, but it was interesting at the public hearing on the regional park. A local farmer from Mohawk stood up and basically said, why would you schedule a meeting at 6 p.m. where any, respectable farmer's still in the barn? So I would be in favor of keeping it at 7 myself.
So we're keeping it at 7. Is that all right? Okay. By the way, nothing has killed public participation like the tax caps have. That's when people stop coming to meetings.
That's true.
All right. So that, we're staying at 7. The next comment is on page 3. And it has to do with a motion to reconsider. Would you speak to that, Megan?
Well, our rules for motion to reconsider say it needs to be done at the same meeting. And Robert's rule seems to allow for this to be at the next meeting. Something to consider if you want to do that, or...
I think that's a good suggestion. I appreciate that. Yep.
I just, and frankly, one way or another, I don't think I really even have an opinion one way or another, but this was one of the changes that when we came in, it was at the next meeting, and there was a discussion that it should be at the same meeting, so we changed it going into 2015 to be at the same meeting. But I just point that out as background on it.
Okay. Because the notion here is an abstention really is somebody who's on the losing side of the issue, right? It's like a no vote.
This is for the whole motion to reconsider.
Okay.
Not just on those who abstain, even though the comment highlights that part.
In a situation like we were talking earlier about the real property tax thing that happened back in January,
Right.
hypothetically, let's say that we wanted to reconsider something like that, it's too late? Or how do you do that?
You could do it at the, right now it's too late under our rules of procedure.
Right.
To
So
do
you would
it.
have to bring up a whole new resolution.
You would have to do a motion to rescind.
Motion to rescind, that would you do a motion to rescind and then bring up,
A
so you
new
can do a motion to
resolution.
rescind long beyond, you can do that anytime. We can make a motion to rescind a resolution from 3 years ago, right?
I'm not sure if there's a time
From
frame on it.
1772.
Yeah, you could rescind it, okay. That answers what she's looking it up, that was the one question.
I don't believe there is, but I'm going to
Chair,
double check. before I
just
answer.
to, I think since we're having the discussion, when we decided to change it during the meeting of original consideration, that was kind of the thought process is you can rescind, can rescind at any point, whether it be 100 years later or a month later. And I may have been, I see you've got a clean new copy, and I know it's an updated version of Robert's Rules, but I know some older versions of Robert's Rules, it talks about being a motion to reconsider during the same session or an adjourned session thereof. Now, since our sessions are one evening, the thought is our April meeting is a new session, but obviously it can be whatever we want it to be.
What were the wording changed?
We didn't change it yet.
Okay, we'll get the way it is.
We're okay with the way it is?
I think so.
Okay, that's not changing either on page 3. And of course, when we vote on these, you can move to amend. You have another bite of the apple.
Reconsider.
So now we're on to page 6. Resolution inclusion. This says together with the respective committee chairperson. This means the chairman can exclude a resolution from committee. That's not what we want, right?
I'll do the
Thank
historian
you.
of the group
I am
for the
looking to
evening.
you.
This was a carryover from the Board of Supervisors. My reading of it is that the chairperson of the legislature, together with the respective committee chairperson, my reading of that is that only if the respective committee chairperson concurs can the chairperson. But I don't, I think it's open to interpretation. It was a carryover. We've never changed it.
I think it's vague and we could clarify what we mean. Historically, how we operate is the chair of the committee decides what's on his agenda for the committee. So if you want to make it, the chairman can exclude only, or the chairman with the chairperson of the committee, I think just we can tighten up that language a little bit.
Well, my view would be the opposite, would be to try to include, I would not want to see, I don't like any gatekeeping kind of rules.
This clause, I'm reading it again, and it's for resolution inclusion,
Right.
not exclusion.
Okay.
Now, the F is for,
Yeah, well, if you don't include it, that's almost like excluding it.
Right.
yeah. F deal, just wanted to,
And nothing gets by me. Okay. Terry, what did you have to say?
I was just going to say, and I think it's the resolution exclusion that says that it has to be, a written notification has to be given to the full legislative board within 5 days. But if you want to do that with the other,
We'll go to the next one.
yeah, F. If you want to do F with, and the same wording with E, that's up to you.
Okay, so what's your pleasure? Anybody?
We're still on E.
Well, I think he can.
We'll start combining E and F now.
Well, and I would just, do you mind if I speak freely?
Please.
Thank you.
That's, we asked you, I asked you for this.
So if you're going to compare E to F, now we have even more of a discrepancy here because it says, neither the chairperson or respective committee chairperson shall exclude from the agenda unless written notification. So if the chairperson, say the chairman, wants to exclude something from committee, but the head of the committee does not. So now we have one who does, one who does not. Then does the chairman, if he wants to exclude it, does he have to send a memo even though it's not excluded because they don't agree on it and it's not included on the, I mean, it just becomes very convoluted.
Yes.
I mean, I think if you guys say what you want, I can fix it so it says that. And just tell me how you want it to operate.
Why would we put E and F together? What would be the reason?
Well, it's the written notice, why you're doing it.
But is there any reason why you couldn't keep them separate and still have the same outcome?
You can do whatever you want. My question is, who do you want to have the power to exclude a resolution? Do you want it to be a joint decision between the chairman and the head of the committee?
I think most of
Or,
well, I just,
No, I would just think any legislator, chairperson, committee chair would be able to forward a resolution. Next.
just point out, and I think part of the confusion is this clause doesn't deal specifically with committees. This is under the general operational procedures of the legislature, so it's saying, at any meeting, at a committee meeting, it would be a committee chairperson. At the regular meeting, it would be the chairperson.
well, that's not what inclusion says. Because if you're not, like Legislator DeChesney said, if you're not including it, you're excluding it by default. So, and it says chairperson of the legislature together with the respective committee chairperson. So do you want to have that say, the chairperson of the legislature for full board meetings and the respective committee chairperson for committee meetings? Or do you want the committee chair to have to make decisions to exclude or include in conjunction with the chairman? Do you want to, for your committee, have to make a joint decision? I mean, it's up to you, however you want it, but I think we can clarify.
Is this solely for putting together the agenda and what's going to be printed? Because at any point, a legislator on a committee or at the full board could bring up a resolution for discussion.
Correct.
Is this,
Yeah. Is the language even necessary at all? How's it helpful?
You could take it completely off if you wanted for inclusion.
That would be my preference.
Yeah, I think I would, it deals with putting together an agenda, not necessarily what business is entertaining.
Because typically, our agendas are formed via committee when we include legislation to be considered, and it moves to the board, right?
Now, what happens if you're a chairman for a committee and someone brings forth a resolution that you don't think is quite ready yet, and that you want to do some more research on, and you don't necessarily want it up that month for a discussion?
historically, it would get dropped off and the chairperson of that said committee would send an email explaining why
It's
he...
supposed to be a written letter within
Yeah.
5 days.
So if we take, what I'm saying is if we take E and F out, then what's your recourse in that situation? By default, yeah, you would have to table it, but do you want to take that element of decision out of there? Your authority to decide that? These are all your rules.
Well, this looks like it's jointly decided.
Yeah, and then,
That's the problem.
Just like the chair-
Let's give the authority to one or the other.
Yeah, I think of the perspective, you know, if we're talking about the full board meeting, it should be the chair. If we're talking about a committee, it should be the committee chair.
Chairman of the board can always put one on, right? They can always,
wow,
chairman approve.
that brings up another good point.
That's nowhere in our rule and never has been. But chairman approved doesn't exist. There's emergency resolution and you can amend the agenda, but chairman approved resolution never existed since we've been here. The last board of supervisors did not act.
So do we want to add that in?
Does the
We
clerk,
always did the clerk or chairman approve back in the board of supervisors days.
So that's what I'm saying, if that's how you're going to operate and it's just the way you're going to do it, you can put it in the rules,
There's
make
no-
it formal.
Only for the purpose of publishing is it a chairman approved. If there is something that needs to be addressed at a committee meeting or at the full board meeting, we can pass any resolution we want at any board meeting. It doesn't,
Right, but the purpose.
Here's my problem, is we have something that's working. This has never been a problem. Basically, we're establishing some rules that could create a problem, I think. Whatever we're doing is working. Nothing has been excluded or
It's only been invoked once, and it was invoked by me last year. I sent a memo to you all. May I?
yes.
I think, you know, especially with the chairman approved, the inclusion, exclusion, there's nothing to prevent any resolution from coming up in any meeting other than a majority vote saying, no, we don't want to hear it. This is just for an agenda, and technically, legally speaking, we don't need to publish what's every resolution on an agenda.
You can just
It's
put
good,
on.
it's good practice.
Well, it's good practice, and I think
And
it's a
our
good
rules,
thing.
and our rules do set forth that we have.
It's like tonight, I brought up a
the agenda.
resolution.
But an agenda is different than the resolution document.
Are you talking about the body?
About
The body, the
Oh, I see.
resolution docket. There's nothing that says we have to do that. And so the question is who puts an agenda together? If somebody brings up a new resolution here, it wasn't on the agenda,
Well,
but it was on the business entertainment. So that's the difference, I think, in the inclusion, exclusion, chairman approved.
well,
Those are the only things that it applies to.
I did disagree with you, because if you're going to bring something onto the agenda that's not on the agenda, you have to do a motion to suspend the rules, which is 2/3.
Correct, and that's what we do.
Right, so I'm saying, so that's one way to remedy it. But all I'm doing is bringing up some discrepancies, and you can do, it doesn't matter to me
No, I'm
either way.
looking for- but I'm
They're
looking
just
for the remedy.
suggestions.
Let's restate that remedy.
well,
Right now, you can do a motion to suspend the rules, and that's one way to add a resolution on.
I don't know if really E matters, does it? Because you have F. So, right?
That won't matter, we don't either.
Yeah, Well, you know, if you want to just have one, I don't know.
How about we leave E until it becomes a problem and then we address it?
Well, I think just the question is, and it's to solve these three questions is, who puts together the agenda? How does the agenda get put together? Because right now, our agenda has a body of resolutions. Doesn't need to have that. But we do that, and I think that's a good thing, so people know, the media and the public know what's going to be discussed, or most of it.
Chair of the committee puts it together.
But what if he doesn't want to include something, and that's why, you know, that's really just what it pertains to, not what's entertaining.
Well, I'm in favor now of leaving it the way it is. And if somebody wants to exclude something, then we're gonna have a problem, the fight will be made.
And for establishing the agenda, the resolutions, you know, 2.2A, doesn't that set forth how the resolutions have to be in the clerk at a certain time, blah, 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 in order to be considered, on the agenda? I'm good with it.
Yeah, let's just move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
That stays.
Could I just ask a question?
So-
I asked Bob had wanted to change that to 3 days instead of 5.
This is the next one. We're on F now.
Okay.
Okay. With respect to the letter informing the requester why something was removed from the agenda, there's been a suggestion that we decrease it from 5 days to 3 days. Everybody okay with that? Good. We're gonna make that change.
Good to go.
Okay, reading of the resolution.
I think it should be both.
Okay.
I know last year there were a few of my colleagues who were concerned, and it's a good thing I did read, otherwise we would have been done in very short time.
Okay, so that's staying as it is, correct?
Well, do you want to add anything to clarify that it's at full board and committee? Or do you, it says shall read title of all resolutions in local law. Is that
Do
just
it
a-
every meeting.
Well, the chairperson at the Budget and Finance is chair, the chairperson at the
Right.
board is, I think, the chairperson.
At each meeting.
Right.
Yeah, I think they should read it every meeting.
That's the way it's been working.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is the way we operate. Do we want to just make it clear in our
Codify it,
rules?
okay.
You know?
What would we do to clarify that? We would just have the chairperson,
I would, I would say, the chairperson or committee chair
Or clerk, right.
shall read the title of all resolutions and local laws at full boards and committee meetings, at full board, or just at all meetings.
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, I would just,
Don't ask Cheryl, she don't want an increase.
I would just say that, and we're not going to use it there, but technically we don't have full board meetings. We have regularly special and committee meetings because we are not a board. We're a legislature, we're not a board of legislators, so there is no board. So I just hate to see that included in our rules,
Right.
since it doesn't exist.
Okay, what's the language we're looking for? You're gonna put that in, Megan?
Sure, I'll work with that and get it back to you.
That's what it
Yeah.
says.
Between the two of us, we do.
All right. So what is this next notation mean? Format?
Don't worry about the format. Just go with.
I didn't
ones
write that
say no.
down.
Don't worry about the format.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, we're still on page 7. Megan, what have we got here on placed in consideration regarding emergency resolution? I don't think that has a
It's
letter.
regarding the chairman approval.
It's at the very bottom of page 7.
Oh, no, this was just a random comment. Do you want to include a section on chairman approved resolutions? Since you guys all do them.
Well, if you think that's a good idea, then I do too.
Up to you.
But I guess the question would be, what's chairman approved mean? It puts it on the agenda, but we still have to suspend the
Yeah.
rules.
Right.
And we have emergency resolution, which is 2/3, same thing as suspending the rules. So,
Okay.
Well, you could add that the chairman can bring a chairman resolution without the need to suspend the rules. That is the way, you know, you guys kind of have operated with the chairman approved resolution up until the past.
I don't mind
8 months,
that.
9
I'm doing it
months.
anyway.
we suspend the rules every time.
Not every.
It's like tonight, I
I think
brought
we did.
I believe me.
one up.
I didn't think we
Generally,
did.
we suspend the rules.
Well, at a regularly scheduled meeting. I mean, agendas at work, or
So,
committees.
What's your pleasure? Saying this is okay?
I-
All right.
me
On to page 8. That's just a typo. We already, you know, we want 5 committee members. Okay.
Actually, for the committee, I actually would prefer committee of the whole. I know that you had said you would be in favor of it. Martin's leaving right now. But I know he had said he was in favor of it. When I had spoken to Ryan, he should favor of it. I just think that the more we include, the better off we are. When there's a committee of 3, it sucks. 5 is, it could be the same story. So why show up to a meeting if you're not on it? It would be very,
But I did compromise at the last meeting, and that was my original position, but I'm going with 5 now. And all the changes that we've made to this document we're looking at are based on 5 in the committee system again.
so we couldn't even take a vote. It's just 5.
Well,
Well, we did.
We did, but that's fine.
We did.
I just got it. No worries. I don't care.
Listen, I was good with the full or the 5, I just hated the 3. But we did go, and I agree with you, went around the room.
we're trying to make it work,
Yeah.
okay?
Well, we can change it next year.
Well, next year when the good body gets here, then we'll do it.
The next issues are, I'm going on then. The next issues are formatting. Now we're on page 9. Committee review.
I just say, are we doing something wrong if we don't say negative or with positive approval? Or
Can I see that? Just from past history, and Barb and Tom could talk about this as well. It was always felt that when you said move to the full board with a positive recommendation, gave it the, what's the word I want to use?
Stamp of approval?
Yeah, the stamp of approval.
Right.
So if you could use, and I have it already in the system, positive recommendation, a negative recommendation, no recommendation, or just move to the full board. I mean, it's your prerogative.
And I know that even since we've been here as a legislative body, we have occasionally used that. I know we almost used it tonight at one of the committee meetings.
yes.
But we have in the past sent a negative connotation, even though the committee moved it forward so that the entire body could vote on it. That
All right, I would be in favor of putting some nomenclature on the method which is moved. Full recommendation or negative, whatever. That would be, I would support that. Because then at least the full board gets to look at the resolution at one time.
Sold.
So,
What do you say? How do
They
you
said
say?
the full legislation.
Yeah, okay. So is that good?
Would it be easier if we changed to the full board?
You got to change.
how about just saying the full body?
The full body.
But anyway, are we going to insert comments regarding that? Everybody good with that?
Yes.
So,
Yeah,
so we're gonna leave it as is and operate moving forward with that.
Yes.
just the
Okay.
committee chairperson.
So that's coming out, right?
Getting that habit.
Wait a minute, I'm confused. What are we doing?
So we're keeping this in, and then moving forward, we're going to move things with positive or negative recommendations?
No, you're gonna put that wording in it.
That's in there.
It's in there, yeah.
That's
All
why
right.
my comment was,
Yeah.
are we gonna do it or
Oh,
not?
We generally don't
So
do
this-
that unless there is.
So this stays.
Yeah.
So it just stays.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was why I had the comment about it.
Oh.
Do we wanna do it or take it out?
This is just a plan.
So you're just telling us to do it? Okay, I got you now.
It's just a plan, right? You know what Mike Tyson said about plans.
I'm okay with it.
Okay, that's staying. And we're moving on to discussion.
Getting tired.
Okay, this was important because when we had our discussion about committees, we said that only members of the committee shall vote, right?
Yes.
Fast.
So, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
And technically per our rules, and I'll just reiterate, we do not follow our rules as is. But technically per our rules, every resolution needs a sponsor before it's even on the floor, on the agenda. So
Where's it say
anybody,
that?
But that's not the point of this. I think what we were talking about was, what happens is because we've been, even though we have a committee of 3, everyone is participating.
just to answer Jay on page 7, but
I think where we muddy the water is we allow people who are not on the committee to sponsor a resolution.
Yes.
but it's supposed to be sponsored before it's
Discuss.
discussed.
Correct.
Section J on page 7 says, all proposed resolutions, local law shall have a prime sponsor in at least 1 second and shall be reduced to writing before consideration at a regular or special meeting of the legislature.
Before-
So when's that take place?
Before consideration, which is voting, but it doesn't say before discussion.
So it doesn't specify who sponsors.
So do we want to specify that?
And that-
But
Specify-
anybody can, any legislator
What
can.
we're looking for, I think, here is under our committee system though, okay, even before you discuss it, it has to be a member of the committee who's going to sponsor and second, correct?
No, I think any legislator can sponsor, my personal opinion, any legislator can sponsor a resolution. Like, I was proud to sponsor the connector resolution tonight. I wasn't on that.
Right, no, that's the way we do it, but I'm saying what are we have been doing that.
Should we clarify it though?
Yeah.
Make it clear in the rules, so there's no
Yes.
In
question?
regards to what legislator White's is saying, in J though, it's regular or special meeting. That's the meeting of the full body.
So the notion would be that a particular legislator who was not on the committee could come to the committee with sponsorship of a resolution, and he just would not vote on it in
Right.
committee.
Right,
That's what we want to keep.
yes.
Well, I'm going to use this, and I mean, it's kind of just, I think every body, that has committees, in the state assembly, anybody can sponsor a law. Only the committee members can vote on it, but anybody can sponsor. And I think it's not clearly defined that says it can be anybody or can't. It doesn't exclude anybody, the sponsorship provision, so it would be
Okay.
assumed by that anyybody could.
So therefore, we can leave this as it is
Well,
and continue on. It doesn't make a problem. It's okay. All right? In other words, there are no changes on page 9.
Nope, it's all formatting,
Okay.
and you're done.
10 are formatting issues?
Okay?
10 is full, okay.
Yeah.
11, the same thing, all formatting, now the last page, that's it. I would call on a motion to,
I make the motion to move it to full board.
move to full board.
Full
You
legislature.
didn't get
Full
a,
legislature,
Full
you didn't get a
full
sponsor.
body.
Sponsor?
full body.
Okay, and,
See?
a second from Roy.
Now, anybody can sponsor a second.
We'll move it with a negative,
Martin
with a
and
positive
Roy.
recommendation, right?
Okay, all in
We're
favor?
making progress.
Okay, let's go to full board. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Yes. Trump won Florida, Trump won Florida.